Hello, my dudes! So, as you all know from last week, one of my most commented things on this channel is regarding my accent, and a lot of you asked me to do the accent tag. Now, I have been living under a rock for the entirety of my life, and I did not know what the accent tag was. But luckily, I just stumbled across a video made by Fantasy ASMR, and she was fabulous. And the video was really relaxing, and it looked like a ton of fun. So I figured I might just do the same thing. But the only exception is that I wanted to add a little spin to it, that being that I would also include the Romanian translation for each of the featured words, because I just find that videos, especially ASMR videos that are created in different languages, are super relaxing, because if you do not know that particular language, it just sounds basically like gibberish, and that's always a fun trigger. So here it goes. And also, I'd like to make a little announcement before we actually begin. I just created a new Instagram account dedicated to this channel. The handle is ASMR Shitposter, and I also included a link in the description below, and I might even make a cool transition on the screen for you. So in case you use Instagram, just go ahead and follow me or DM me or whatever, because as you might know, if you followed me on my previous account, that one is basically riddled with a lot of product placement and sponsored posts, because well, that's the life of a beauty blogger. So I figured that if I spend so much time creating content on YouTube, I should also dedicate a bit of my time to creating proper content for you guys on Instagram as well. Okay, so the first part of the tag is just pronouncing a bunch of random words. Aunt, and in Romanian we have mătușă, roof, acoperiș, route, and I think that the synonym in Romanian is traseu. We also have rută, but that means something totally different. I think there are quite a lot of words that go by this rule. For instance, pathetic and pathetic do not mean the same thing, even though people frequently use them as the same thing. Also, location and locație, because locație means rent, and specific and specific. This is just a weird fun fact. Then we have wash, a spăla, oil, ulei, theater, teatru, iron, which in Romanian is fier or oțel, I know, a type of metal. Salmon, somon, caramel, caramel. This one you wouldn't think, but it's spelled the exact same way, just the pronunciation is different. I know, right? Insane. Fire, also known as my mixtape, but in Romanian that's foc. Water, I think pronounce water as water sometimes. I just do not realize it when I'm doing it. Anyway, in Romanian we have apă, sure, sigur, data, date. I think this one is a word that we basically borrowed from the English language, so that's why it's so similar. Ruin, and well, we have, it depends on what you mean by ruin, because we have several words for that. For instance, say you go on a field trip and you visit a castle that's super old and it doesn't function as a shelter anymore, and it's just a bunch of rocks, that's a ruină. But if you are saying to somebody, oh, you ruin everything, it just means astrica. Then we have crayon, which is crayon in Romanian. New Orleans, which is probably the same in every language. I know. Do the French call it Nouveau Orleans or something? Pecan, which is pecan. That's a recently introduced word in the Romanian language, so we do not have a direct translation. We just picked up the way it's written and we pronounce it phonetically. So in Romanian is nuci pecan, and it sounds totally awful as a word if you ask me, but anyway, both, which is amândoi or amândouă. Again, din probably, which is probabil or pe semne. Spitting image. Now, it depends on your tone and who you're speaking with, because spitting image might be associated if you want to use, bigger, more academic words, or it could just be geamănă or geamăn, which roughly translates as twin, but in this case doesn't mean biological twin, but rather a person who looks exactly like you, which is basically what a spitting image is. Then we have Alabama, which I am not even going to bother to translate. Lawyer, avocat. Coupon, coupon. Again, the pronunciation is really darn similar. The only difference being that in Romanian we do not use we not spell it as C-O-U but C-U-P-O-N. Mayonnaise, mayonnaise. Syrup, syrup. Pajamas, pyjama. Coat, prince, which should not be confused with prince, which is prince. Yes, Romanian is such a unique language. Naturally, which I think is in mod normal. Aluminium, envelope, plic. Then we just have a bunch of questions. What is it called when you throw toilet paper on a house? Now, in English, I believe that's called tipping, but we do not do that in Romanian. I mean, you know how Russians have vodka and misery? Well, we have toilet paper and misery, and quite frankly, toilet paper is quite expensive, and why the fuck would you just waste it by throwing it on somebody's house? What is the bug that when you touch it, it curls into a ball? Now, I personally like to call it, ew, gross, get that thing away from me or I'm leaving. I do not know what its real name is or what you would call that in Romanian. What is the bubbly carbonated drink called? Well, you have soda and you have mineral water. And in Romanian it's basically the same. It's suc or apă minerală, or back in the day when I was a little girl we used to have sifon, which is also a form of mineral water, except that it was made differently. It wasn't made in a factory. You just have somebody who would add, I don't know, but bubbles to water. What do you call gym shoes? I don't know, smelly? Sneakers or trainers? It's quite a funny thing actually, because in Romanian all the types of sports shoes are basically called Adidas, like the brand Adidas. So if you want to get trainers from another brand, say you want to get Nike trainers, you would just go and buy yourself Adidas Nike, which is like getting yourself the new Samsung iPhone. What do you say to address a group of people? Well, today I said, hey my dudes. What do you call the kind of spider or spider-like creature that has an oval-shaped body and extremely long legs? Well, first of all, what the fuck do you mean by spider-like creature? Like, I'm picturing some sort of shapeshifter that has like a oval-ish body and long legs. I don't know what the fuck you call that, Slenderman probably. What do you call your grandparents? Now, I have never called my grandparents anything in English because they do not know English. But in Romanian, I call them bunica and bunicu. And this is if I am referring to them more formally. But for instance, I would call my grandma Maya, which isn't her name, but actually the short form of Mamaya, which actually means grandma as well in Romanian. What do you call the wheel contraption in which you carry groceries at the supermarket? Now, I normally call that a cart in English, but in Romanian you just call that coș, which is also the name of the smaller cart that you just carry around in your arms. What do you call it when rain falls while the sun is shining? I call that a summer rain, which is basically what I would call it in Romania as well, ploaie de vară. What is the thing you change the TV channels with? A remote control? Or in Romanian, telecomandă? Yeah, that was all for today. I really think that this is going to be the shortest video that I have ever made on this channel, but I hope you liked it, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, or I don't know, send the entire script of the B movie in the comment section below. See you next time. Bye bye guys.